21 black R&B legends who ruined their careers in seconds. A powerhouse career, an icon status, the dazzling stage lights. It takes a lifetime to build this picture-perfect golden illusion, but only 1 second to shatter it. Welcome to the unforgiving world of R&B, where a single earth-shattering secret or scandalous betrayal can trigger a sudden drop into the abyss. This isn't a scripted movie, it is the raw agony of 21 black celebrities who were swallowed alive by fame's crushing pressure and their own invisible enemies. Let's uncover the chilling speculation behind the music. Hank Ballard. Look closely at the police report from that gloomy Detroit morning in 1970. It wasn't a smoking gun or a bloody knife that ended the reign of an R&B pioneer. It was a microscopic dusting of white powder on a car floorboard and a few scattered syringes. That mundane traffic stop was the sudden drop that ruined a golden illusion. Hank Ballard wasn't just a singer, he was a powerhouse who birthed the twist, shaking up the 1954 charts with Work With Me Annie. The 50s were his dazzling stage lights, shaping an entire cultural era while teenagers worshipped his rebellious soul. But behind the forgiving spotlight lay an unfillable void. When Chubby Checker took the twist to global glory, Ballard was robbed of his rightful credit. The systemic blade of the music industry cut deep, leaving him in the shadows. To cope with fame's crushing pressure and a stalling career, he found a silent predator: heroin. The recording studios were traded for dark Detroit alleys, and the man who once commanded massive audiences was wasting away, skipping shows as his band fractured under the heavy weight of his unreliability. Then came that fatal morning. The moment the police opened his car door, the illusion shattered completely. Handcuffs clicked and the tabloid fodder began. King Records cut him loose coldly, erasing his name from promoters' posters as if he never existed. Public disgrace swallowed him whole, turning a revolutionary artist into an isolated ghost. By the time he passed away in 2003, stripped of wealth and fanfare, there was no grand tribute, just a chilling speculation on how a legend could vanish into thin air. The powder on the floorboard didn't just stain his car, it coldly erased his entire legacy forever. The smoke from a burned-out career often drifts across state lines, suffocating others who blindly mistake their own toxic fumes for the sweet scent of absolute invincibility. Ike Turner. When he died in 2007, he wasn't mourned as a musical pioneer. He was remembered as a villain, a monster whose legacy was dust. This is a crushing contrast to the 1960s, where he was an undeniable powerhouse who birthed rock and roll with Rocket 88. He held the world in his hands, massive fortune and a glamorous marriage to Tina Turner. But behind the dazzling stage lights, the golden illusion masked a horrific double life. Consumed by cocaine and paranoia, Ike turned their union into a highly toxic romance. He became a merciless foe, inflicting raw agony through severe physical and mental abuse on his own wife. Society's invisible walls ignored the violence until 1976, when Tina finally fled a bloody hotel room with just 36 cents. By exposing this earth-shattering secret in 1981, the illusion shattered completely. Public disgrace was absolute. Radio stations permanently banned his tracks, boycotting him without mercy and quickly turning the former king into pathetic tabloid fodder. True power is never built on breaking another soul, it only guarantees the builder's inevitable ruin. While one tyrant crumbled in the suffocating ruins of a broken home, another unhinged legend was about to tear across state lines in a deafening roar of sirens. James Brown. The godfather of soul wasn't destroyed by a lack of talent or a fading voice. By the late 1980s, his own mind had become a terrifying prison. A silent predator had firmly taken residence in his brain, PCP, brutally known as angel dust. The dazzling stage lights couldn't penetrate the dark hallucinations clouding his vision. Fighting an invisible enemy, he was endlessly tormented by paranoid delusions that turned his daily reality into raw agony. This sudden drop climaxed in September 1988. Consumed by internal demons over a petty bathroom dispute, Brown stormed an office seminar wielding a shotgun. The ensuing chaotic, high-speed chase across 2 state lines wasn't just a crime. It was the tragic manifestation of a frantic man trying to outrun his own shadow. When police finally shot out his tires and dragged him from the truck, his earth-shattering secret became instant tabloid fodder. The industry instantly cut ties, plunging the untouchable icon into public disgrace in a prison cell. His spirit had truly died in the grips of that chemical paranoia long before his physical body surrendered to the asphalt. A fractured mind ultimately crashes a speeding truck into a ditch, just as an exhausted physical heart will eventually short-circuit right in front of a screaming audience. Jackie Wilson. I can still feel the electric charge in the humid air that night at the Latin Casino in September 1975. We packed the room, over 2,000 of us, screaming for Mr. Excitement. He was the ultimate powerhouse, a living flame paving the way for black artists. Yet, staring through the dazzling stage lights, you could sense the raw agony seeping through his pores. Fame's crushing pressure forced him into a brutal survival strategy of chain smoking, erratic eating, and endless liquor. He was silently wasting away, fighting an invisible enemy of exhaustion and an unfillable void following his divorce. As the band struck up Lonely Teardrops, we cheered wildly, oblivious to the sudden drop about to unfold. Right at the lyric, "My heart is crying," he dropped like a stone. We gasped, thinking it was just a wild dance move, but the sickening thud of his skull against the floorboard sent a chilling speculation rippling through the terrified crowd. It was a massive stroke, an earth-shattering secret exposed live. For 9 agonizing years, he lay trapped as a vegetable. He was abandoned until the final spotlight above him simply burned out, leaving nothing but a cold, pitch-black stage. The deafening silence of a dead theater eventually bleeds into desolate city streets, where majestic queens shivering in rusty backseats await their own inevitable arrest. Etta James. The industry is a merciless machine that devours a powerhouse and spits out the broken remains. Executives milked her fierce voice, building a golden illusion around hits like "At Last." She was their irreplaceable pawn, generating wealth while suffocating under fame's crushing pressure. When the dazzling stage lights faded, the systemic blade swung. Driven to the edge, she sought refuge in a silent predator, heroin. The sudden drop hit in 1974. Police found the 36-year-old queen rotting in a car, surrounded by dirty syringes. She wasn't treated like a legend, she was a public disgrace. Chess Records, who profited off her raw agony, instantly cut her contract. Promoters erased her. Forced into rehab, she faced her invisible enemy entirely alone, shaking and pale. The machine moved on, leaving her broke and untouchable. This is the unfillable void of Hollywood. They only love you until you become a liability. A corporate machine's cold shoulder is devastating, yet nothing shatters a glittering empire faster than a frontman who foolishly believes he is vastly superior to the very foundation holding him up. David Ruffin. The angelic voice behind My Girl was a powerhouse achievement that catapulted the Temptations to unprecedented global supremacy. He stood at the absolute zenith of R&B, seemingly untouched and revered by millions. Yet, this peak of perfection only amplified the sudden drop that followed. The dazzling stage lights fed a lethal arrogance. He demanded private limousines, alienated his bandmates, and poured thousands of dollars into a merciless foe, cocaine. This golden illusion abruptly shattered in June 1968. A routine police check outside a Detroit nightclub uncovered his earth-shattering secret, a stash of drugs that led to an immediate arrest. The raw agony was instantaneous. The Temptations ruthlessly fired him for skipping a Cleveland show, and Motown swiftly cut his solo support. Stripped of his glamorous shield, he became pathetic tabloid fodder, suffering immense public disgrace as the industry locked its doors permanently. He went from the ultimate icon to a discarded pariah overnight. What is the true value of an irreplaceable million-dollar voice if the soul carrying it is completely bankrupt? An overgrown ego can easily shatter a mature empire from the inside out. Yet, the most chilling tragedies occur when that same toxic fame suffocates a naive prodigy before he even gets a chance to truly grow up. Frankie Lyman. At age 13 he conquered America. By 15, a silent predator was already coursing through his teenage veins. The sudden drop of this R&B prodigy can be meticulously calculated through the cold arithmetic of addiction. Hundreds of dollars a week were liquidated to feed his merciless foe, heroin. 0 hit records followed his split from the teenagers in the 1960s. The golden illusion of a Harlem kid turning into a global superstar was aggressively dismantled by the systemic blade of exploitative managers and racial prejudices that bled his royalties dry. The fatal equation climaxed in 1966. At exactly 24 years old, he was apprehended during a police raid. Officers logged multiple syringes, marijuana, and heroin shoved hastily into his pants. He went from $1 million asset to absolute tabloid fodder in mere hours. Labels instantly subtracted him from their rosters, bringing his commercial value to nothing. His raw agony wasn't a poetic tragedy, it was a statistical freefall. In 1968, the final tally was closed forever, leaving only chilling speculation. Fame is a brutal calculus where adding excessive pressure to a fragile youth always multiplies into absolute zero. The chilling arithmetic of a child star's demise leaves a devastating void, yet even the most heavily armed funk empires, shielded by sprawling mansions, cannot engineer a formula to escape their own chemically induced collapse. Sly Stone. I was just cold steel, an unregistered pistol resting in the dark glove box of his lavish car, feeling the erratic vibrations of a crumbling funk empire. Through my metallic frame, I witnessed the raw agony of a genius drowning in cocaine and paranoia. He was a powerhouse who built a golden illusion with anthems like Everyday People, but his hands now trembled with a violent, unpredictable energy. My cold silence observed the sudden drop in December 1974, when flashing police lights pierced our sanctuary. The moment they seized me alongside his toxic stash, the dazzling stage lights extinguished permanently. I became the damning tabloid fodder that severed his ties with Epic Records and shattered his band. I remain locked in a dusty evidence room, a silent witness to a legend who weaponized his own fame until it ultimately destroyed him. A loaded gun can forcefully dismantle a musical dynasty in a single night, yet a deeply misguided wedding vow can trigger an equally devastating explosion within a fiercely loyal community. Bobby Womack. A single "I do" can be the merciless foe that obliterates a legacy. He was an R&B powerhouse, nurtured by the legendary Sam Cooke. But when Cooke died in 1964, Womack made a choice triggering an unstoppable sudden drop. Just 3 months later, he stunned the world by marrying Cooke's widow. That impulsive decision was viewed as a scandalous betrayal. The systemic blade of public disgrace fell brutally. Fans who once revered him hurled objects at him on stage, shattering his golden illusion. The ripple effect of this toxic romance spiraled into raw agony, driving him toward domestic violence and a heavy cocaine addiction. Deals vanished, and his name faded into an unfillable void. His career was a sandcastle swept away by one catastrophic ripple. It is terrifying how decades of talent can be erased by just one tragically misguided vow. The weight of exile is heavy, yet some legends do not wait for the public to turn. They actively smash their own crowns in a bloody, unpredictable haze of liquor and violent rage. Wilson Pickett. October 15, 1987, Englewood, New Jersey. A man bleeds heavily from a shattered beer bottle while a raging figure is shoved into a police cruiser, pockets stuffed with cocaine. This violent public disgrace was the sudden drop that buried a legend. This wasn't just any brawler. This was the powerhouse who tore down racial prejudices to conquer the globe with In the Midnight Hour. He was an R&B icon whose golden illusion commanded millions. But the dazzling stage lights couldn't hide the merciless foe consuming him. Pressured by shifting musical trends and a fractured personal life, he sought refuge in an unfillable void of liquor and endless cocaine binges. His toxic romance with chaos turned him into a walking hazard. Following that bloody night, the industry treated him as a radioactive risk, reducing him to pathetic tabloid fodder. A legacy built on shattering musical boundaries ultimately shattered itself into worthless, jagged glass. Fire burns brilliantly enough to forge a glorious crown, yet that same uncontrollable heat can swiftly scorch a fragile brain into absolute, unrecoverable darkness. Donny Hathaway. The true tragedy wasn't just a sudden drop from the charts. His own brilliant mind had become a lethal trap. Before the public witnessed his raw agony, a silent predator was tearing through his sanity. He was a soulful powerhouse, crafting a golden illusion with A Song for You. Yet beneath the dazzling stage lights, he fought an invisible enemy, severe bipolar disorder and crippling paranoia. Believing spies and the CIA were constantly trailing him, he relied on a dangerous survival strategy of barbiturates to numb the unfillable void. Fame's crushing pressure kept the tour machine running until the summer of 1973. During a Chicago recording session, his earth-shattering secret exploded. Screaming about the CIA, he violently smashed studio equipment. This breakdown led straight to a psychiatric ward. The media instantly turned his torment into tabloid fodder, and the industry coldly backed away. His fragile spirit had completely died in that shattered recording booth, long before his physical body surrendered in 1979. A broken mind permanently traps a genius within his own terrifying hallucinations, whereas a fractured reputation forces another to flee entirely across the ocean, desperately trying to physically outrun his inescapable demons. Arthur Conley. Look closely at a Dutch passport from 1970. It doesn't say Arthur Conley, the R&B powerhouse mentored by Otis Redding. It reads Lee Roberts. This fake name is the final artifact of a shattered golden illusion. His sudden drop began after Redding's death, leaving him fighting an invisible enemy of agonizing grief. Seeking a toxic survival strategy in cocaine and liquor, he slurred through major shows. The systemic blade struck swiftly. The industry simply branded him an unsavable addict, turning his raw agony into cheap tabloid fodder before coldly cutting all ties. He vanished into obscurity. A legend deliberately erased himself. Crossing oceans to physically flee your demons is a tragic escape, yet building a terrifying prison inside your own glamorous estate is pure, unforgivable horror. Rick James. His sprawling estate projected a golden illusion of funk supremacy. Yet, behind the dazzling stage lights, this powerhouse hid an earth-shattering secret, a literal torture chamber. The sudden drop into depravity peaked in 1991. Consumed by the merciless foe of cocaine, he held a young woman hostage for 6 days of raw agony and horrific abuse. When the systemic blade of justice struck in 1993 with a 5-year prison sentence, he plummeted from musical royalty to repulsive tabloid fodder. Radio networks erased his legacy instantly, permanently freezing his empire. A legacy built on unmatched rhythm was entirely dismantled by sheer, unspeakable cruelty. A tyrant turning his luxurious home into a nightmare earns his rightful exile, but sometimes the most excruciating public disgrace unfolds entirely unscripted, right in front of a live, paying audience. Clyde McPhatter. I was standing in the front row that night in 1968, holding my ticket tight, desperate to hear the R&B powerhouse who founded the Drifters. But the man who staggered onto the New York stage wasn't a star. He was a ghost drowning in raw agony. The golden illusion of his fame had been stripped away by exploitative labels and an unfillable void. Instead of singing, he screamed drunken curses directly into our faces. The sudden drop was terrifying to witness. The crowd booed and security violently dragged him off stage. That night, his earth-shattering secret, a severe, unchecked addiction, became tabloid fodder. The industry permanently abandoned him and the lights simply shut off for good. A beautiful voice swallowed whole by whiskey and blinding rage. Screaming at a disappointed audience will swiftly kill a live performance, yet nothing guarantees a faster demise than actively screaming in the face of an armed, uniformed officer on a dark highway. De Harvey. One arrogant choice can incinerate a golden illusion. He was a rising R&B powerhouse, confidently stepping into the dazzling stage lights. But his sudden drop wasn't solely due to the cocaine and liquor discovered during a 1987 traffic stop. It was his fatal decision to violently argue with the police. That reckless defiance became his merciless foe. The press instantly turned his raw agony into toxic tabloid fodder. The systemic blade dropped swiftly as labels permanently erased his name. Words exchanged in anger can easily kill a fragile career, but burying a heavy foot into a car's accelerator while completely blinded by liquor will physically crush both metal and musical destinies in one single impact. Chuck Woolery. The deafening crunch of a speeding Mustang wrapping around a pole in 1968 was the exact sound of a sudden drop. Before the shattered glass and raw agony of severe physical injuries, he was a rising R&B powerhouse. Yet, his golden illusion was hijacked by a merciless foe, unchecked liquor. Speeding at 80 miles per hour, this devastating crash exposed his earth-shattering secret of chronic intoxication. The systemic blade swung instantly, reducing his promising vocal career to shameful tabloid fodder. His musical legacy was permanently paralyzed in that wreckage, bleeding out entirely on the cold pavement. A twisted pile of steel is a tragic monument to one night of reckless speed, yet a sprawling dungeon of abuse takes decades of deafening silence to finally dismantle. R. Kelly. 30 years in prison. 6 weeks of Brooklyn testimonies. Decades of atrocities. These cold numbers finally destroyed an R&B powerhouse. He built an untouchable golden illusion, but behind the dazzling stage lights hid a horrifying earth-shattering secret. A systematic network of abuse and extortion that trapped vulnerable victims in raw agony. When the systemic blade of justice finally struck in 2021, the undeniable proof shattered his empire. He was reduced to absolute public disgrace as radio stations permanently erased his catalog. 30 years is the terrifying mathematical cost of weaponizing fame. While a federal sentence locks a predator in a cold cage, an unchecked chemical dependency can publicly execute a singer's dignity directly in front of a stunned, paying audience. KCI Haley. I am the microphone that slipped from his trembling hands at the House of Blues in 2000. I once amplified his golden illusion, the powerhouse voice behind All My Life. But that night I broadcasted his raw agony. Consumed by a merciless foe of cocaine and liquor, he sang wildly off-key before his sudden drop onto the stage floor before 1,500 stunned fans. This recorded collapse became brutal tabloid fodder. The systemic blade swung rapidly, canceling his tours and muting his fame. I was left completely silent in the dark. A physical stage fall strips away all dignity, yet the screeching tires of a midnight collision violently dismantle a visionary's entire future in a shower of shattered glass. D'Angelo. Look closely at the crumpled metal of the fence he smashed into on that dark Virginia night in 2005. It wasn't merely a traffic accident, it was the final, devastating collapse of a golden illusion. He was an unmatched R&B powerhouse, a musical sex symbol who cracked under fame's crushing pressure. His silent predator, addiction, fueled a sudden drop into raw agony. When the police found the cocaine and arrested him as he violently resisted, his earth-shattering secret became glaring tabloid fodder. The systemic blade of the industry ruthlessly dropped him. His dazzling stage lights were abruptly snuffed out by a desperate struggle in the mud. A collision with a fence physically scars a star's reputation, yet a brutal, unprovoked assault in a nightclub instantly brands a former hitmaker as an uncontrollable, violent hazard. Cisco. Ruling the world with an inescapable viral anthem, he stood at the absolute zenith of global pop culture. Yet this staggering peak only accelerated his sudden drop. The golden illusion of his powerhouse success was completely shattered by his own impulsive, drunken rage. In December 2000, he engaged in a violent brawl over a petty financial dispute at a Baltimore club. The dazzling stage lights were instantly replaced by cold handcuffs. Arrested on the spot, his raw agony became glaring tabloid fodder for MTV. The systemic blade swung without mercy, canceling his lucrative deals and erasing his vibrant fame. A foolish fistfight in a crowded club quickly snuffs out a fiery pop legacy, but the absolute most chilling public disgrace unfolds in the desolate, starving silence of a neglected suburban backyard. Jaheim. Look closely at the rusty, filth-stained hinges of a dog crate in a Hillsborough backyard. This wasn't a junkyard, it was the estate of a former R&B powerhouse. He built a golden illusion with Put That Woman First, but far from the dazzling stage lights, a nightmare festered. The sudden drop hit in September 2021 during a police raid. They exposed an earth-shattering secret: 15 starving dogs trapped in raw agony, one euthanized from severe neglect. The systemic blade of public disgrace struck immediately. He became repulsive tabloid fodder, his cash and fame entirely wrecked. True cruelty never stays hidden. The innocent always bear the ultimate price. Just one earth-shattering secret can permanently destroy a golden illusion. These sudden drops are a brutal reminder that surviving fame's crushing pressure requires absolute self-control. Did these chilling truths change your perspective? Drop your thoughts below and subscribe as we uncover more Hollywood shadows.